Welcome, boys and girls. I'm Sakuba Winters, and today we're here ranking all the classes in Final Fantasy XIV. Not by how good they are in raids, not by how stylish their armor is, but by the most important factor of all: how fun are they to actually play? How good are they to, run in dungeons, do casual content, and just have some fun with it. Level them up. Maybe learn to have them be your new main if they're not already. But first off, before we get into it, I do want to say that I'm going to be ranking them on the current version of these classes, which we're still at Endwalker now, a few months away from Dawn Trail, which, yes, classes can change from them, but, you can level up some classes in a couple of months. And also, we're not basing them on what they used to be. Heavensward, Machinist, and Bard were pretty much weird turret designs where they really didn't want you moving around much, or that lose like 30% attack bonus, which was kind of dumb. But you don't have to deal with that now, so we're not going to talk about it. So the first one we got to talk about here is Samurai here. Summoner is going to be way over here, but got Samurai. So for the melee class, it doesn't come with a lot of buffs. It is a very selfish damage class, but if you like doing big numbers, this is the class for you. You have the combo system, which lets you use your three, like, the weird symbol thing. If they have a name, I don't remember what it was called, but you can do a very fat dot with one of them. You do a good AoE attack with two of them, and then you have a massively strong hit if you do all three of the combo moves in one go. And then once you get to a high enough level, I think around 72, 78-ish, you get a double up attack, so you can double both the super strong 3 symbol attack or the AoE attack, though the single dot doesn't actually work since you can only put 1 dot on it anyways. And then as you start leveling the classes up, you get the Kanki gauge. Kanki? I think that's right. I know it's not Kinky gauge. That's a whole different game you're playing right there. But you can really start dishing out attacks with that, since every attack you do builds up this gauge, which even at like around level 50, 60-ish, you get your normal attacks, which you can just start, belting out attacks once you start, just doing your normal combos for a while. You do get some cool dashing. You do get a cool dash attack to dash at the enemy, dash away to actually avoid some attacks, and get some really strong off-global cooldowns with these. So, if you really want a fun, flashy, it's maybe not too flashy, but it really is strong. And really, it's pretty easy to play as well. So, definitely has all the fun of just, you really just want to give a good just melee class a try. Go give Samurai a run, and it is, you're not gonna be let down with this class. Next up is Reaper. So, do you like being an edgelord? Do you like Dark Knight but don't want to be a tank? You have Reaper. While all the melee classes do kind of have a 1, 2, 3 combo and maybe an AoE combo as well, Reaper also has the same, but such cool flashy effects to it, which, it doesn't do, the flashy effects don't do damage, but definitely do give it a really good stylish points with how these effects work. So you have the void scent that helps you out, with some of your attacks, which you have a demon helping you doing attacks, which is great. You can really do some damage with this. It's not overly strong like Samurai is, but still very good. You do have the cool teleport attacks. It is part of the maiming gear, so you do end up getting a bit stronger armor. Though with this game, the armor classes really don't matter too much. I mean, you're either a tank or not a tank, and that's really it. Like, the healers and mages really don't feel squishy as like all the classes do, but either way, you do get a bit of extra health, which is always nice. But leveling up Reaper and just playing it casually is pretty fun. Definitely flashy. Not like super crazy fun. You're not doing crazy big numbers like the Samurai, but it definitely gets an A, which is always good. I mean, it's still a great class. And again, if you're new to Final Fantasy 14 or for whatever reason found this and haven't played it, all the classes are viable. All the classes are good. You can take them all to raids. Yeah, some classes are better than others, but no matter what, I mean, it really comes down to how good the players actually are and not dying to mechanics and stuff like that. But next up, we have Dragoon. Dragoon kind of, does feel like Reaper a bit. Kind of has sort of a similar style. But honestly, it's okay. Because, I mean, granted, yes, we do know that Reaper is getting an overhaul of some stores coming Dawn Trail. I think they wanted to try to do it in Endwalker, but it's just, I think the overall hope was so big that they're like, yeah, we're just going to wait till the next expansion. But we're not here to talk about that. We're here to talk about what you can play right here, right now. And it's okay. It's good. Because while you have the spear attacks and while some of the attacks are kind of cool, it doesn't have the cool, flashy, particle effects like Reaper does. And one of the big ones for me is, while the jump attacks have definitely gotten a lot better, the jump attacks are super fast now, so you don't have to worry about animation lock like you used to have, where you mistime a jump, you're dying to an attack. It really sucked, but now they're super lightning fast. But the main thing for me here is activating your dragon mode. Like once you do jump twice, or once you do jump, you get Mirage Dive as an off global cooldown. You do this twice, and you can do, once you cast Gerskogel, you activate your dragon mode, which gives you Star Diver and Nastron. It turns in Gerskogel turns into. But the annoying fact is if Gerskogel is on cooldown, and you use the second eye, to open up the eye to get into the dragon mode, you have to wait till Gerskogel is on cooldown, which is kind of annoying. If you accidentally screw up this rotation, you just put yourself in a massive DPS loss, and also this takes a while to actually get into. You gotta wait for several cooldowns to go to get into this mode. And if you die in the middle of this, well, you lose all your charges and you gotta restart, and which is kind of annoying. So while it is fun, it is nice, and it is fun to see what the class will become, because it has pretty much been the same class since pretty much ever. So hopefully Dawn Trail will do it some favors, but right now it's good. It's good. It's not bad, but it's pretty good. It is boy is this fun. It is a fun class. It is pretty fast, but it could be better. But it's still good. Monk. Okay, so with Monk, do you not like the 2.5 GCDs that this game has? You think, oh man, this game, the attacks take so long. Monk pretty much has a much faster GCD just by default. Well, you had to level it up because you used to have to build up Grease Lightning, which would make your attacks much faster. But then they just said, yeah, what if it's just a trait you just have all the time? So when you're doing higher level content, when you have the max Grease Lightning stack, you are stupid fast. I forgot how fast the global cooldown is, but it's so much faster. You have a lot of cool different combos with this. Instead of just having a 1-2-3 combo, you can actually have different moves. You have like different forms for each of the 1-2-3 step that you're doing, and that built up your chakra gauge, which then you can do a big old punch attack, or you can just Hadouken if you're doing dungeons. You got a big, just pretty much a Hadouken attack, And then once you get, I forgot what the actual skill is called, but then you pretty much make like your own custom combo moves, which then leads into, cooler, like you have this like Rising Phoenix attack, which is pretty cool. But, and you just get to punch stuff, when you have all this, wizardries and swords and shields and all that, it's nice to just punch things in the face, and that's always great. You just go martial arts on them, which is really nice, and definitely a lot of it. Not an S rank. I wouldn't say it's an S rank, but definitely good A rank. It's got, it does have a bit of utility. I think it does still have Matra, which helps healing out for everybody, which is always nice. Okay, so next up we have Ninja. So Ninja is my main. So while I think, oh, it's gonna be biased, it's gonna be just S rank. Actually, no, it's a lot of fun. It's definitely a lot of fun. Though definitely at low levels, though a lot of classes are kind of okay at low levels, but like, man, since a lot of rogues low level skills, it ends up getting a bunch of defensive skills. And you end up having like nothing. You have like your basic 1 or 2. You might not even have the 3rd hit in your combo at like much lower levels. But once you get to level 30, you actually become a ninja. And once you start getting the ninjutsus, then you start having really cool, you essentially get magic. You get ranged magic as a melee class, which definitely has a bunch of versatility. You get really strong lightning attacks, really good, the fire AoE attacks. And then once you get the, whatever the bar you get cool, you get this like Naruto Ninja Frog attack, which is really cool. You cool Shadow Shade attacks, which doubles up your attack, or it doesn't double up your attack, but does add extra damage to your attacks, which is really cool. It is home to what I think the strongest overall ability with the Ice Shuriken ability once you get the upgraded Kasatsu attack, which is really great. And really, and if you crit on that, you do some crazy damage. But the main reason I wouldn't put this in S rank is, do you have lag? Do you ever experience lag? You're going to experience lag in the game, and having to deal with the ninjutsu system with lag, and like you press the button and then nothing happens, so you like press the next button thinking it went through, and then if you accidentally mess up the ninjutsu, you waste the cooldown. You then have to use the weird little bunny emote on your head, which it's like a nice little dunce hat for ninjas. And just having that kind of lag or any ping issues really can be an issue. And if you definitely have bad ping, you are not going to have a fun time with Ninja. But assuming you have decently good internet, I definitely have not the best internet, but, viable enough to at least be able to play Ninja well enough. But, you hit those lag spikes, you ain't going to have a fun time. But either way, if your internet's good, your internet's having a good time, you're definitely going to have a lot of fun with Ninja. Just having that ranged, so many good ranged abilities with a melee class actually ends up being very versatile. But if you don't want to deal with melee range, you can just be a range class with Bard. So Bard, definitely not that strong, but it is meant to be more of a support type with the songs that you get. And when you have the dots you have, or when you have the songs you got to deal with, keeping the dots up, you do have 2 dots you get, which is actually very easy to keep up, because you'll have what's like Twin Fangs or something. You'll have like an extra ability that just re-ups both your dots, which is really nice. You have the 3 different songs, which I actually forgot what the 3 songs actually do. One of them you get like a level 3 charge. You can do extra attacks. One of them refreshes one of your cooldowns of, you just have like, do you want a single shot ability or a AoE ability that you have on a pretty quick cooldown? And when you have, I think Mage's Ballad refreshes these cooldowns, which is really good. Another one just gives you crit damage, I think. Which, like, hey, like 5% crit damage or whatever the actual buff is for, you know, the 60 seconds or however long the songs actually last for, is actually very good in, you know, in a fight, because then you're going to be doing them over and over again. The only downside here is it doesn't have a combo ability. You just have your normal shot, and then at a 20% chance, you might get your combo ability, though you do have an ability that automatically ups it and then does like triple shot damage. So it's, you get your stronger combo ability and it does a triple shot. So, which that's always nice to do, but because it's meant to be more of a support class, you're not really doing all that much damage. And it is nice, but you know, if you accidentally screw up the songs or accidentally turn on a song and then accidentally turn on another song, you just screw up your rotations, which definitely is never fun in a long fight, but it's not that hard to like not screw that up. But it's still pretty fun. It's okay. You know, it's pretty fun, but not like crazy fun. So I think B is definitely a good spot for it. You know, if you like a support class, you know, it is great. And next we have Machinist. So, you know, is the other range physical class. Like, do you not want to be a support class and you just want to do major damage and have a bunch of cool, fun toys? And you have Machinist. So if you ever played Final Fantasy VI, you're pretty much play as Edgar from Final Fantasy VI. You've got your cool chainsaw attacks. You got Bioblaster for AoE attacks, which is nice. You just straight up have a flamethrower and another attack. While for a while you end up having this, just like you just shoot in like a conal area at enemies. Then later you just get a shotgun. You just shotgun enemies, which is great. You end up having an ability that lets you just do, I think is it double damage? Either 50% damage or double damage on certain skills you have. So you can just hit it with drill, which you just shoot a drill at enemies, which does crazy damage. And as you're doing your combo abilities, which are all just the overly dramatic flipping and just all these just stupidly just silly movements that you have with guns, which is just makes a lot of fun just to look at. You have your heat gauge, which as you do your attacks, you build this up, then you just get a massive just like air blast, like hot air gun blast you do at the enemies, which ends up letting you refresh your cooldowns that you have. You have a single target cooldown and a multi-target cooldown, which you can really use both. So a lot of other ones, you either have to pick your single target or your multi-target abilities, which here you get both at their own cooldown, so you can really just be spamming both attacks, no matter, you know, even if you are using them for a single target boss, which is really good. So you're constantly having moves to do. And then at lower levels, you have a little floating turret that does damage, which is really nice, and it has like, once it's done, it does like a big attack, a big like energy blast attack. But once you get is it level 80? Level 80, I think, is your turret turns straight up into a robot that just attacks enemies and just starts punching the hell out of things, which is really, really great and really cool. So just for style points alone, and just it's a really easy class to play as well. So if you just want a fun class that does a lot of damage and really easy to pick up and play, Machinist is definitely definitely a class you want to be trying out. So, for the last ranged physical class, we have Dancer, which is also meant to be more of a support class. Somewhat support, because you can really only target one other person, which you want to probably use it on. Which you have Dance Partner, which can give whoever you put Dance Partner on, give them some of the buffs that you get, so they get as well. So any attack buffs and defensive buffs that they'll get. I think you get some crit buffs, I think. But either way, having this is really nice. But their main issue is it's very RNG dependent. So when you do your first hit combo, you have a 50% chance you end up getting the third hit in your combo. You do the second one, you have a chance to do the fourth hit in the combo. And then, if you get the third or fourth hit of the combo, you have a 50% chance to do another combo ability, which is not too bad for like dungeons and whatnot. Can be a bit stressful if the RNG just screws you and just will not give you the procs that you need to do more damage. If you're trying to do like a high-end fight and you really gotta be doing some damage, you might not have a good time. But, for a normal dungeon, since you're doing these attacks so much, it's like flipping a coin, 10 times in 10 seconds. Even if you get the wrong, you need heads, but you get tails a few times, you're gonna get heads enough times. You're gonna be getting these procs. Though, it would be nice if they, had, dealt with the RNG a bit better in Dawntrail, but currently you do have to deal with quite a bit of RNG. And while it is a fun class, it's, I wouldn't put it C tier. Definitely pretty fun. It's pretty fun, not super fun. Not a lot of fun, but it's really, it's a good class. It's nice. B tier, definitely have some good time. Next up, now we get into the mages. The quintessential mage of Black Mage. A lot of people say like, oh, you gotta stand still for Black Mage, which while it does have some, a lot of cast times for its abilities, you end up getting a lot of movement with Black Mage, though it does help if you know the fight, more, especially for a higher end raid, actually knowing the dance to the fight, knowing where to be and where to set up, it definitely does help. But, as you're leveling up is, fine. Though, one thing actually with leveling up is probably one of the worst classes to level up, mainly due to the fact that the rotation up until like level 60 changes like 4 times, that you have to like how you're actually supposed to play the class optimally. And it's like the only class that does it just changes so much. It's the only class that really does this. So it's once you get past level 60, you don't have to deal with that, and it's it's okay. Though it is a powerhouse of a class. Once you get into it, once you get into your higher fire attacks and polyglot, and once you get the polyglot attacks, foul, and what's the other class that you get with Enochian? Because you do also have the Enochian gauge, which once you do your fire and ice attacks, once you have that balanced for a while, you end up getting an extra, you get a charge of this really strong abilities that you can use that do crazy damage, as long along with your fire 3s and fire 4s you end up getting, which really does some damage. But with that being said, it's a mage class. It's definitely does some big dick damage. If you like big dick damage, definitely gonna have a lot of fun. Does have its learning curves. So while it is great, definitely is if you can learn it, I'd definitely give it an A, but since it does have quite a learning curve, I'm gonna want to put it to B. And keep in mind, I'm just doing these in order I do, so like this isn't fourth place with the ranking here, But it is a good class, is nice. But it can be kind of hard to learn, and with the Enochian gauge, dropping that's actually really easy to do, which then it could make you lose abilities, which does kind of dock at some points for me. So next up we have Summoner, which every expansion has had a massive rework to Summoner, and while a lot of people kind of find Summoner a bit, but honestly, I find Summoner so fun in its current form to actually have summonable monsters. You have your Ifrits, you have your Garuda and Titan, which while leveling them up, I think at low levels you only get the Carbuncles, and then I think only till level 90 you actually get the main primal versions. Until then, you get the little eggy glamours the little eggy versions that we used to have with Summoner. Well, I guess we still have them if they're still in the game. But having the cool, primal themed, combo abilities to deal with, having a big attack with them coming in, how Summoner should actually play instead of just being a pet class like it's been before, is really cool. And once you actually max the class out, the effects of the 3 primal summons you actually get, and you also get cool Bahamut abilities, which are really great, do a lot of damage, and really end up being quite a powerhouse as well. And for a fun ranged class, as a magic class should be, ends up being just so much fun to play with the really cool flashy abilities. A very easy class to play as well, because it probably has the least amount of skills in the game, because they condensed so much of the class, which some people might not like that because it's not as intuitive, but for something just to level up, it is super crazy fun and is just so fun to play and just to mess around with. And definitely, if you're looking for a class to level up Summoner. Because also, as the bonus, because it's tied to Arcanist, you also level up Scholar as well, which we'll talk about that later when we get to it. Next up, we have Red Mage. I want to like Red Mage. I really do. Maybe it's just me, but I just don't really care for Red Mage all that much. And while it has the balancing of the white and black magic, it does have the cool dual cast, which is great. You end up having to charge up both the ability of both your white magic and black magic, which can kind of suck if you accidentally use too much of one type of skill, which then makes charging up the other ability. If you use too much white magic, you end up not getting as many points for black magic until you actually use enough to balance it out, and you have to keep that balancing act, which is okay. And then once you have a full bar of both of these bars, you can end up using your melee combo, which you can actually use the little rapier sword that you get, which is cool. If you got to make sure you don't accidentally, when you're done with the combo, do a backflip and accidentally kill yourself, which is always fun to watch. Which, with Dragoon, you do have a backflip, which you could actually do that, but it's not part of your actual damaging kit. So being very, having the boss be positioned near the edge and then ending with that and yeeting yourself off the edge is never a fun time. But Because it came out in Stormblood and also like Dragoon. Really, they have not done anything with this class. So it's, if you played the class since then, it's been the same class since then. So it really hasn't had any new fun toys to deal with. If you're new to the game, you'll probably have some fun with it. But for me, it could be more fun. It could be better. It's not bad. None of the classes are bad. But it's okay. Next, well, it's a limited job, not a full job, and since we're here, talk about how fun they are, how good they are to level. Blue Mage being kind of its own content, but a class, is a ton of fun to level up. Mainly, it does help that you level up crazy fast compared to other classes because you're just meant to attack enemies in the wild. It is fun to get all the different abilities and hunt down, do dungeon grinds and find what monsters give you what abilities, and you have all these crazy abilities. And you want flashy abilities, here you go. You have Blue Mage, though you are only limited to 10 levels under the current expansion, so you're never going to see this class at max level. We'll get this at 90 at like a year from now, like 6.3, are we 6.3 or 7, whatever Dawn Trail 0.3 Dawn Trail patch we end up getting. So yeah, we would do 7, so 7.3 we'll get that. But for right now, it's stupid fun. If you're looking for something to do, go level up Red Mage. Go do the Carnival. Please do the level 50 Carnival. There's a really good revival skill in there that no one has when doing higher end content. So, it has its own, cool little bosses. There are nice references to older Final Fantasy bosses of 5 and 3 later on. But definitely a lot of fun. Definitely worth trying out if you haven't tried out. So now we get into the tanks. We have the OG edgelord itself of Dark Knight. And it's it's cool. I think I'm not a big raider myself, but I think it's like the worst like DPS for the tanks, which is never good. I mean, it's not that it's not terrible, but someone's got to be in the last place. And right now it's Dark Knight. But we're not here to talk about rating. We're here to have fun leveling up. While the classes do have little class storylines, everybody, though, I don't really care too much about, but a lot of people really love the earlier Dark Knight class quest. Really cool. I mean, they were pretty cool. You do have a lot of cool edgy attacks, and it's kind of basic. It's okay. It's not, super crazy fun. Nothing super to write home about, but it's nice. It's not bad. I'd give it a B. It does its job, though. One also factor is all the tank classes. Really, every class that has a defensive skill mitigates damage or gives you health. For whatever reason, Dark Knight has 2 defensive abilities that only mitigate magic damage, which is kind of annoying if you have a boss doing physical damage. So you have cooldowns that just don't work for a bunch of attacks, which is annoying factor, which hopefully can get rectified in Dawn Trail, but we'll see. Next up we have is Paladin, your sword and shield, your OG tank, one of the OG tanks. So you like being the heroic knight in shining armor. You got your sword and shield. Definitely really good. Once its combo abilities, was it Royal Authority, I think, is like a really strong attack for tanks. Ends up getting some cool magic attacks as well, since I guess a callback to Final Fantasy 1, which did getting some white mage abilities, which you do actually getting. You get a healing ability of Clemency, which you can cast on yourself or other people, which is really nice. You have cover to help out other people. So really going back to like what a paladin class has been in Final Fantasy, which is really nice. It has some really cool flashy abilities, like the wing attack has this cool like wing shield attack, which I forgot. Is it Spirit Within? I know it has this ability called Spirit Within. I forgot what the name of this attack is, or this ability is, which gives you a cool defensive boost for all the allies who are standing behind you, which is really cool to do. Really cool effect. And once you get to the final, once you get to level 90, you have an ability that drops a big magic sword on enemies. Then they thought, hey, what if you got not a 2-hit combo with this, not a 3-hit combo with this, but a 4-hit combo where you just chuck like, I think at the end of it, you're throwing like 20 giant magical swords at enemies. And if you just want to look like a powerhouse while being a tank, I mean, Paladin is definitely really good, but, you know, it is a tank class. You're not doing crazy high numbers, but, you know, you are having some cool effect, but having that cool sword attack is limited to the max level 90, so you're not going to be able to use that everywhere. So it's a lot of fun. It's a good defensive tank class, really nice and basic, without being overly basic. Well, next, we have Gunbreaker. Gunbreaker is, man, I want to be a tank, but I also want to be a DPS class. It is super crazy hectic, super very fast, has just crazy combo system. You get a cool gun blade. So if you're a nerd for Final Fantasy VIII and really want to go and be like Cloud, or go be like Squall. I'm sorry, Leon, who they knew that the name was so stupid that they renamed him in Kingdom Hearts. But that's not the topic of discussion here. We are here talking about Gunbreaker. And just crazy fast attacks. Also does get a cool healing move with Aurora, which gives you a small heal with a regen, which you can also target with other people, which is nice if you just need a nice little pocket heal. While Paladin with Clemency, you have your MP gauge, where you can just spam this as long as you got MP. With Aurora, it is a global cooldown, 30 or 60 seconds. Don't really remember, but it's not something you can just spam. It's not crazy effective, or not super crazy effective that you're not gonna, being able to just, I don't need a healer anymore. So it's a good ability. Also, while I also stupidly forgot with all our tank classes is their invulnerability ability. So with Gunbreaker, you get invincibility, but you also have to lose all your health and be dropped to 1 HP, which is that's a mood that you have to deal with. Which is a thing. So if you like to live dangerously, Gunbreaker is there. And just a refresher, since I accidentally missed them, a Paladin gets a completely invincible attack. You just become immune to all damage, but does have the highest cooldown for your invuln. And so with Dark Knight, you end up getting I don't think you get any kind of damage mitigation with your invulnerability. Is that when your health drops to 0, you pretty much become a zombie, and you can't die for a while. You have pretty much, I think, 10 or 15 seconds until you have to be healed to full, or you fully do die. So you have to hope that your healers are still alive, or you're screwed. And then most likely everybody else is screwed if you're dead. But going back to Gunbreaker, for a class, it's a ton of fun to play. It's definitely very fast and hectic if you want to tank, because the other tanks kind of slow, but really, they're good. They serve their purpose. Are great. Then we have Warrior. Warrior is just the angry class. You just, while Gunbreaker is very fast and does a lot of damage, just hits hard. Just hitting. You have your ability Fell Cleave, which is just your bread and butter of damage, which I'm glad they kept. The ability to just, what if you could just use Fell Cleave like as much as you can? Which, just being able to use the ability more times just was so much, just made the class so much more fun, which they've kept into the game. And with their new healing ability that they got, especially for dungeons, you don't need a healer with these people. You just use your AoE abilities and you go to full. You go from empty health to full HP with a big enough pack of monsters that just not needing a healer is so much fun, and just a power statement of just how good Warrior is. With really strong abilities, really strong attacks. You have this cool like monkey flip rage attack that you end up getting. Though I think that's at a high, I think it's level 90 ability. I don't remember offhand. But either way, it's super fun to play. It's super easy to play as well. So, if you definitely are looking into, maybe you're new to tanking, Warrior would definitely be one of the classes you want to pick. And also with its invulnerability just being kind of fun, of just being too angry to die. While you do lose health, while you are under your invulnerability, you can't drop to 1, so you just literally become too angry to die, which is also just nice and thematic, and definitely gets a super fun, gets the S tier class for me. So now we have the healers. We have Astro. Astro is really good. For me, I do tend to take the more pure healers over the shield healers, which you have the pure healers of Astro and White Mage, and the shield healers of Sage and Scholar. So the first one we have is Astro. So if you love tarot cards and you're really big into tarot cards, this is definitely a class you're gonna want to play just for the theming of it all. Really good healer. The fact that one of its skills is Earthly Star, which they made so big, like, used to be like a conal ability that would heal your allies and do a bunch of damage to any enemies that get hit in this. Now they increase the range of this ability by so much that you just plant it in the middle of the arena and you're going to hit everyone without fail. Like the AoE is so huge, it's absurd. So this might get nerfed back to what it used to be come Dawn Trail, but if you want to have some fun with this, definitely give this a try now. And of course, with the card classes, you have, of course, the cards themselves, which used to give different kind of effects. Give MP to certain classes and give, I think, like crit damage, definitely. But the big one was always like give like, I think it was a 10% or 5% increase in attack, which everybody like went out of their way to try to get. But they did retool it so that all of the cards give you an offensive boost, and depending on what cards you get and what class you give it to, gives them a bigger boost. So it made it a bit easier to play. You just have to pay attention to what card and what classes you got to deal with. if anything, you can just dump it on anybody or just give it to yourself and give yourself a boost for whatever reason. But it's fun. It's a good class. Uh, and while I think it has some shield abilities actually with this class, because it used to be both a pure healer and a shield healer that you could swap in between. Or no, I think you had to pick before you started raiding, because you had to pick one of your forms, and I don't think you could change it. But I think you do get like a small cooldown to be able to do that. And you do have some kind of time abilities, which kind of give you a bit of boost in speed. I think get some kind of boost. I forgot exactly what kind of boost, but it's somewhat of a time-ish mage. I would like them to kind of go a bit further in that direction, but either way, good healer all around if you like a cool, kind of a mystic themed healer. It's definitely a good class to play. Definitely pretty fun. Definitely had a good time with the cards. Next up we have is Sage, the newest healer to the game, added in Endwalker, and it's okay. Again, I don't really care for the shield healers. I'd rather just do, basic heals. But just the fact you have normal healing abilities that are okay, but then you have to do like an annoying kind of form that you have to use, like the form shift, which only lasts for a whole one action. So then you can like do your shield ability. So then it kind of takes a bit longer to do the actual shield if you need one. And just extra button presses that you don't really need to do. And some of the abilities, while they're nice, are kind of okay. Though it is good for, like, you can put a sort of dance partner-y kind of stack for, you most likely be using this on a tank or whoever you'd end up be using it on, that the damage you do ends up turning into heals, which is really cool. So you end up getting, and also your weapon of choice, which is also is these little newlets, these little like floating satellite laser beams you end up getting, which is cool. Thematically is really cool. But it's okay. It's, for me, it's okay. It's fun. Like, if you're leveling up, you're gonna have a time. You're gonna have a good time, but it could definitely be better. And Scholar, I don't like this class. Of all the classes, like, I can jump into the class and be like, oh yeah, this is what the rotation. I don't know what I'm doing in Scholar. The abilities are kind of just a bit too hectic. Like, you have to deal with your ether flow stacks, which like Summoner ends up getting because it was from Arcanist, but you don't have to deal too much with them, where they're very crucial with Scholar. And if you blow through them and you gotta wait for the cooldown for ether flow to recharge, it's not a good time, because it's a shield healer, your base heals aren't super strong. And while you do have the fairy, having to charge up the fairy, having to use the fairy charge is nice, but a lot of the abilities, I just never really know how to use them properly, and it is kind of confusing. But I guess the only saving grace for me leveling Scholar is that because it branches off of Arcanist, you can actually just level up Summoner, and it levels Scholar with it. So if you level up Scholar, you level up Summoner. They both level up at the same time, so you don't have to actually level this class up to get at the max level. So that's great, but I don't find this fun at all. No. Sorry, but no. if you like Scholar, it's good. But, you know, if you like Scholar, I hope you have a good time with it. But for me, just no, I don't like it. No, sir. I don't like it. Next we have White Mage, the only starting healer you actually get, which is weird since Scholar is actually a Realm Reborn class, but you gotta wait till level 30. You gotta grab an you have to grab an DPS class and then to level it up into a healer. That's a fun one to have to deal with. But for White Mage, I'd say probably the strongest for like damage, I think might be for White Mage, because it just has some, well, not too many, you know, actual damaging abilities. Your stone and glare attacks actually do really do quite a bit of damage. Which, to be fair, you know, going back to Scholar, it does actually have some pretty, you know, Broil always does feel good to hit with. But I'm still putting it in D tier. But with White Mage having, you know, a lot of just strong, just normal heals, because it's just a pure healer, you don't have to deal with any shield. Though you do get a off global cooldown, which is a small shield if you need to, you know, help a tank deal with a tank buster, which is nice. You have Holy, which is really flashy ability. Maybe a bit too flashy if you're new to the game. I literally had to deal with that. I'm like, oh my god, who's doing this giant white flashy skill? Whoever's doing this, stop. Then I realized how much damage they were doing. I'm like, you know what? No, keep doing that. Keep doing that. You Dio, which is cool, like a nice little damaging attack, which also gives you some MP back and does a decent heal. You know, having a cool regen ability, which you also just have regen, which is a nice, also non-cast time ability, so you can just, you know, if you need to run, you just toss a regen on people, which is really nice, and, you know, helps them be very mobile, which is great. Though, you know, having these cool, like, the angel wing attacks, which give you some good healing. I think it gives you offensive ability as well, but also you get a ability that just speeds up your attacks, which is really great. You know, you get attacks and heals as well. You know, obviously heals as well when you need them. You end up getting your Lily Gauge, which gives you extra off global cooldowns, which you do have quite a few non-off global cooldowns. And when you use these Lily Gauge, you get an additional cool flower attack, which does a ton of damage. So, like, if you want to do damage as a healer, like, White Mage is really the class to go. It's also really simple class. Like, if you want a healer to learn, you don't want to start with healing, yeah, White Mage is definitely the one you want to go with. And also, while the tanks get a cool little mount you have to get, but you have to, like, do 200, like, endgame things to do achievements. With White Mage, when you get Conjurer to level 30, which is also the same level you need to get White Mage, you get a quest, you get a cool little unicorn mount. So you get a nifty mount for just leveling up White Mage. So you get rewarded just for playing the class. So it's definitely a lot of fun. It's definitely good to level up. So for all our normal classes, we have, you know, you got a lot of fun classes here. You definitely have a lot of fun classes. You know, and again, they're all viable. They're all good to take into dungeons. You know, you can have a good time. You can run dungeons and raids with a scholar and be okay, but you might not have as much fun as you would with other classes. But we do have the crafting classes and gathering classes here as well, because that's something you can do as well. All the classes pretty much, you know, they all play the same. So they're all kind of samey. So I'll at least give them a ranking based on how easy it is to level them up, because, being able to max level your crafters is nice, and annoyingly, it is going to be kind of costly, annoyingly, as you level your classes up. Though I would suggest leveling your gatherers up before getting crafters, because you're going to have to gather stuff to make the stuff to level crafting. But we will start with Alchemist. Alchemist is, while it's crafting, they're not super, it's not super fun, but is one of the easier classes to level up. Has some very simple things to learn or to craft. So, when you need to do spam leave quest to level them up, do any kind of things, you're not really tasked with too much of a hassle to craft. Like the books, if you need the scholar and summoner books, they're kind of a pain, but all the other stuff is very simple to get. The materials you need are very simple, very easy to obtain, with not much grinding, and you don't even need that much of them anyways. And they do craft a lot of the music for the orchestration rolls, which is really nice. Obviously, they do have housing items as well that are, nice to have if you can get a house or at least an apartment. Armor and both blacksmith both are, pretty much the same. I mean, they're kind of the, use armor for, armor, blacksmith for your weapons. They both need metal. They both need the same kind of metal. They're pretty much, quite often you have metal items that you can craft with both crafting classes. So, you'll need your miner class leveled up to get. So it's okay. They're good. They're fine. Again, you have carpenter up next. You need your wood. You'll need your botanist to gather. Again, pretty easy to level. Does get a lot of furniture items, so you'll definitely want to level up carpenter if you want to do some housing stuff. You're definitely gonna want carpenter, unless you want to be blowing money on the market board. A lot of furniture is made with carpenter, so you're definitely gonna want that. Leatherworking is not as good, because a lot of it you need leather, which you can only get from, you need to craft with beast hides, which you get from monster drops, and farming monster drops in the overworld is a tedious task. The only reliable way is to have a battle retainer, to have them go out in every 40 to an hour, depending on what skins you're after, to reliably be able to obtain the skins without just a big pain in the ass to craft. Next up is Culinarian. Since we're talking about leveling the classes, Culinarian is actually pretty easy. There's usually one or two crafts that are really, really simple that you can generally turn in for leaves to not be too much of a hassle. Now, if you want to try crafting all the things in the list, yeah, you're not going to have a good time, because some of these things have like 8 different items, which you got to get from all over the place. So it just becomes super tedious for a small, just for like a small item you might need for some raid food, which also for raids, if you want to make some money, Alchemist definitely gives you the raid potions. So if you're not dealing with raids but want to make some cash, nice way to make some good money with alchemy. But Culinarian's not too bad. Definitely is a bit tedious if you want to get, some of the other crafts. But since we're here, we're just kind of leveling it. Just having some fun. I'm doing some basic stuff. Not that bad to level. Gem crafting also goes a bit down, mainly due to the fact that while not at first, you just need normal mining stuff, but I think once you get into like Stormblood areas, they end up needing timed nodes, timed gathering nodes, which only show up for certain periods of the time in the like in-game day. So if you have to wait 20, 30 minutes to be able to gather a certain node, and then you can only get so much of the material. So then if you need more of that gem, you end up having to wait more. And this is for like normal leveling items, which is really annoying and really tedious. And just annoying to the fact they do this. Like, I don't mind if they do it for the end game stuff, or max, for that expansion, the max level stuff would be fine, but the fact that they do this for leveling materials is just dumb, and it just makes it more of a pain in the ass to level, just for no reason too. And the last crafter we have is Weaver. Like armor, blacksmith, and carpenter, you just need botanist to gather whatever hemp items that you need to, any cotton or whatever. So you just do normal botanist gathering for most of your stuff. So it's not too bad, not hard to level up. Provided you have your gatherers leveled up, which I said you should be leveling up before you start leveling your crafters to make leveling your crafters much easier. But again, not too bad. And, and then the last ones we have is your gathering classes. Both mining and botanist play exactly the same, but since they're basic, it's just go to node, click on what item you want, and continue to click on said item until you exhaust the node. Move to next node, continue to collect the item that you want. And it's basic, but it's gathering in a MMO game, so it could be more fun, but it's not that bad. It's okay. And last we have for fishing. So for leveling up fishing, while it is kind of basic with gathering stuff, and while the gathering is kind of not really meaningful, since like legit like 97% of the fish in the game are completely useless. And I'm not joking with that number either. It might be 95, but still, it's probably in the high 90s. Leveling up fisher is actually kind of fun, and especially with new content that they've added throughout the years, like ocean fishing, is really great. And you end up leveling it up super fast. With just go to a nice high level node, which ends up making just a really fun to level it up really fast. Which just, the dopamine of just filling up the bar super quick and really having a fun time maxing it out is really good. Though, if you actually want to get in the more hardcore, try to get all the fish, I will tell you that this is a level of hell that no one should do. Like, you're good. Level up fishing is fun. Doing all the hardcore content is, honestly, ultimate rating would probably be easier and less time consuming. Just of how much of a pain in the ass getting all the fish are in this game. And at least with ultimate tier fishing, you have a cool title and have like a cool sword, whatever weapon you want. Yeah, you get really lame titles, and that's it. That's really it. All the other things you can get in ocean fishing are actually really easy to obtain. Like, there is a cool shark mount you can get in ocean fishing, but that you just need to be on a lucky boat, which you really don't need that much of a lucky boat. You just need to get 10,000 points, which once you get like double cash, it'd be pretty easy to do. But with that being said, that is my list of all the classes. So if you're looking for something to level, you got all sorts of things, which honestly, you know, if you're playing this game for the long haul, you should really be leveling up all these classes. You should level up Scholar, but then again, you can just level up Summoner and do that as well. But either way, this is my list. I hope you enjoyed this list. If you enjoyed this video, please feel free to like, comment, subscribe, all that fun YouTube stuff. I've been Scuba Winters, and I hope you all enjoyed this video. And if you did, you know, if you want to see some more Final Fantasy XIV videos or news or anything of that nature, you know, again, please subscribe. I will also have other gaming content and whatnot as well on this video or on this channel. So if you're looking for that too, you know, again, subscribe, all that fun stuff. You know, leave a comment as well. You know, what classes do you find really fun? What would your rankings be? Did I mess up somewhere? Do you think I'm wrong? Do you think Scholar is the best class ever? If so, leave a comment and tell me how wrong you are for believing that. Nah, but either way, I hope you all have a good day, and bye.